It's really, really tough, and I have a special affinity for this group because in addition to advising them for over 20 years, I'm one of them. I know how it feels. 40-somethings are seeing their influence and even their income begin to peak, but at the same time, their expenses always seem to be more than they could possibly handle. So one of the things that we need to do at this stage of the game is to isolate just a few of the most important things we need to do for the present and for the future in order to ensure that we get something done, because otherwise it seems like there is too much that we need to do at this stage of the game.
Let's talk about the present then, Tim. What should 40-somethings think of first and foremost for today?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that even in the present that is hard to conceive of is the future, right? So when we think about retirement planning for well down the road, it is something that requires an effort that begins, hopefully, last decade, right, in our 20s, our 30s. But at this stage of the game, it becomes increasingly difficult to put that money aside. It's hard to ask a 40-something to go from, say, 0 to 6% or 6 to 12% with their retirement savings. So one of the great innovations in retirement planning over the last decade is the auto escalation feature. So if you can't pledge to jump up your retirement investing in your 401k from, say, 5 to 10%, you probably can pledge that each year you'll increase it by 1%. You should be able to do this with your own 401k at work, but if not, if you're self-employed, you'll have to do it on your own, each year increasing that contribution by whatever percentage you can afford at that time.
In terms of your savings and investment accounts, you say craft the optimal portfolio. What should that look like when you're in your 40s? Because, you know, you're looking at a lifespan of 40 more years potentially.
You certainly are, and one of the challenges you have is that up to this point in time, a target date fund was probably going to do the job. The truth is, the vast majority of the work that comes with our investing is done by just saving and getting started. But once you get into your 40s, you're probably at a point where you're seeing that 401k balance begin to balloon a little. Let's take a closer look at it. The truth is that the optimal portfolio will be slightly different for each individual based on their unique willingness to take on risk.
So that was an 80% equity portfolio that you just showed.
Yes, it was, Tyler. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be 80% for everybody. But assuming you are that kind of typical 40-something, as we said earlier, you've got a long way to go still. So I do want to see you tilting in the direction of equities, but especially in the direction of small caps, of value stocks, and do not ignore international stocks.
Well, that was what would be my next question. And 40% international, if I'd been 40% international over the past several years, I would not be feeling terribly good about my portfolio today.
That is such a great point, but international stocks make up over 50% of the total global market capitalization. So if you want to bet everything just on the United States owning the next 40, 50 years, then you may indeed stick with the domestic bias that most people do and have less in international. But if you really want to be fully diversified, you'll have 50% U.S., 50% diversified internationally.